Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Iceman and Bob Tech and Gaming. This is a picture settings video for the Sony A95L. We will go through all of the picture modes. Speaking of which, feel free to apply any of these picture settings to any of the picture modes that you choose. We will start out with the SDR picture mode. You should also choose the professional option if you have not done so already. As we go through the picture settings menu, you will see that we are in SDR, and there's not going to be many settings that you will have to change. Most of the default settings will work here in terms of accuracy. You just want to make sure that the HDR tone mapping is grayed out in SDR. It should be set to gradation preferred. Make sure advanced contrast enhancer is off, and peak luminance should be set to low, again, for the greatest accuracy. Regarding color, we're going to go with everything default. Just make sure that live color is turned off and you set the color temperature to expert 1. Now, I am going through the advanced color adjustment menu just to show you that I have not made any changes here. Many people ask me, did I make any changes? I want to show you no. These are the settings that you can apply to get you up and running out of the box and be as accurate as possible without a professional calibration. Now, when I do calibrate my A95L, then of course I will make changes here accordingly. Now we're moving on to clarity. Everything is going to be default. Make sure the sharpness is at the 50 setting, which is default. And in reality creation, choose manual mode. That should also be default. And you're going to make sure that the resolution is on 20. When we come down to smooth gradation, just make sure it's set to low. And then now we should essentially be moving on to the motion settings. In the motion, just make sure you choose the custom mode if it's not already defaulted to that. Make sure that the smoothness for both film and camera is set to 1. And then you want to also make sure clearness is on low. Regarding Cinemotion, make sure that's set to low as well. And you should be up and running for your SDR content regarding accuracy on the Sony A95L. We are currently going through the HDR picture mode settings. The first thing you want to do is verify that you are using the professional picture mode. If not, please select this and then you can move on to the expanded picture settings menu. Verify in the top right corner that you do see the HDR logo. If not, back out, pull up some HDR content and come back here. Regarding brightness, the changes that we're going to make is HDR tone mapping should be set to gradation preferred. Make sure advanced contrast enhancer is off. Peak luminance should be default to high. And then you can move on to color. Now regarding color, verify that live color is turned off and set the color temperature to expert 1. I am pulling up the advanced color adjustment menu only to show you all that I have not made a single change here. People ask me all the time if I make changes here. This will only be done for a professional calibration, which I will do at a later time. That is not the point of this video. This is to give you the out-of-the-box settings to get you as close to accuracy as possible without a calibration. We're going to move on to clarity. Under clarity, sharpness should be default 50. And regarding reality creation, you want it to be on manual mode and set the resolution to 20. Feel free to make adjustments here, but 20 will suffice. Make sure also that smooth gradation is on low. It should default there, but if not, make sure it's set to low. Now, as we move on to motion, we're going to look at the motion flow. Choose the custom mode and make sure that the smoothness for both film and camera is set to 1, while clearness is set to low. Finally, we're going to take a look at the Cinemotion. Make sure that's set to low. And once you do so, you should be up and running for your HDR content. We are currently looking at the HLG picture mode settings. The first thing you want to do here is make sure that you are using the professional picture mode. If not, please select that and then move on to the expanded picture settings menu. Once here, you want to verify that you see the HDR logo in the top right. If not, back out, pull up some HLG content and come back here. Regarding brightness, we're going to leave everything default. The only changes that we're going to make is HDR tone mapping should be on gradation preferred. Make sure advanced contrast enhancer is off, and peak luminance should be default to high. Regarding color, we're going to leave everything again in default. Make sure live color is off and change the color temperature to expert 1. I am going to go through the advanced color adjustment menu as I have done so in other picture modes, just to show you all that I have not made any changes here. Changes here will be made once I professionally calibrate my Sony A95L. That is not the purpose of this video. As I've mentioned before, it is to give you the out-of-the-box settings and get you as close to accuracy without professionally calibrating your TV or having it done. Now, we're going to move forward, and at this time, you should be essentially taking a look at clarity. All right. Under the clarity menu, sharpness should default to 50. Make sure, once again, with reality creation, you choose the manual mode and set the resolution to 20, but feel free to adjust to your liking. We're going to also go through and go down to smooth gradation. Make sure that's set to low, and then we can move on to motion. Regarding the motion flow, it's rinse and repeat. As I've said before, make sure you choose the custom mode and set the smoothness for both film and camera to 1 while setting the clearness to low. And finally, regarding Cinemotion, make sure that's also set to low, and you should be up and running regarding your HLG settings. We are currently looking at the Dolby Vision picture mode settings. The first thing that you want to do is make sure that you select Dolby Vision Dark for the picture mode. If not, please select this and then you can move forward to the expanded picture menu. When you do get into the expanded picture menu, verify that you see the HDR logo in the top right. If not, back out, pull up some Dolby Vision content, and then come back here. Now, if you pull up Netflix with the internal app, you have the option to use Netflix calibrated mode. I prefer it to be off. You may prefer it to be on. It's literally your choice, your preference. Once you make it, then we will go ahead and move forward to the brightness section. Now, under brightness, once again, we're going to leave mostly everything in default. With HDR tone mapping, make sure you change it to gradation preferred. Please verify that advanced contrast enhancer is off. And then you also want to verify that peak luminance is set to high. It will default to high, but just verify that that is so. Now, regarding color, we're going to use the default settings. Just once again, verify live color is off and set the color temperature to expert 1. I am going through the advanced color adjustment menu as I have with the previous picture modes, just to show you all that I did not make a single change here. These are the changes that I will make once I professionally calibrate my Sony A95L. That is not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to give you the out-of-the-box settings and get you as close to accuracy as you can without professionally calibrating your TV or having it professionally calibrated. At this time, you essentially should be moving on to the clarity menu. And under the clarity section, we're going to leave default sharpness at 50. And regarding reality creation, it should default to manual and make sure the resolution is on 20, but feel free to make adjustments as you please. We will verify also that smooth gradation is set to low. And then finally, we're going to go through the motion. Make sure the motion flow, you want to use the custom mode as before, and then make sure film and camera regarding the smoothness for those two are set to 1. And then clearness should also be on low. Finally, with Cinemotion, make sure that that is set to low and you should be off to the races regarding your Dolby Vision content. We are currently looking at the SDR game picture mode settings. Right now on the screen, you should see the game bar. All you have to do is press the menu button on the Sony A95L remote to pull this up. This just verifies the information that you are in SDR. And I am going through the picture modes, but you don't have to do that. So we're going to move forward to the expanded picture settings menu. Once here, the first thing we're going to do is go to the brightness section. Under brightness, a lot of things will be default. As you can currently see, we're just going through the default options here. And there are a few things you just want to verify. Now with peak luminance, it will default to low. I have selected medium. It may be slightly brighter, but this is the brightness that many people are familiar with, and it still will retain a great deal of accuracy without being over bright. In the color section here, just make sure live color is off and you set the color temperature to expert 1. I am once again going through the advanced color adjustment menu just to show everyone I have not made a single change here. As I've said before, these will be the changes that are made once I professionally calibrate my Sony A95L. And if you are professionally calibrating yours, you would make these changes here as well. Or your calibrator will come into this section and make changes. But I just wanted to show you all, no changes have been made. People ask me this all the time. That is the only reason why I'm here. Normally, you would not even be in this section. So we're going to move forward to clarity. Sharpness is set to 50. Feel free to come down to reality creation and make sure you are still in manual mode. Now it will default to 20. I have chosen 50. Use reality creation to your liking. These are just my settings. Reality creation is pretty flexible and you don't have to worry about it ruining the image. Smooth gradation should be set to low. And then we will move on to motion. Obviously, there's really nothing to turn on unless you're going to use motion blur. Other than that, you should be off to the races regarding your SDR game picture settings. We are currently looking at the HDR game mode picture settings. If you take a look at the screen, you will see the game bar. In order to access the game bar, just press the menu button on your Sony A95L remote, and this is to verify the source information. You can see at the bottom it says HDR10, BT 2020, etc., etc. I'm also going through the picture modes, but you don't have to do that. I just wanted to do it to give you all something to look at. Now, verify that you're using the standard picture mode. If you would like to apply these settings to the other game picture modes, feel free to do so. We should be in the expanded picture menu at this time and verify that you see the HDR logo at the top. If not, back out, pull up some HDR game content and come back here. Now, you saw the picture mode set standard. Make sure the HDR tone mapping is set to gradation preferred. Make sure peak luminous is set to high. It should default on high, but just verify that. With the color, we're going to leave everything as is default. Make sure live color is off and you set color temperature to expert 1. Now I am going through the advanced color adjustment menu as I have with every other picture mode, just to show you all I have not made a single change here. I will make changes here once I professionally calibrate my Sony A95L. As I said before, this is not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to get you up and running with the out-of-the-box settings without a professional calibration and get you as close to accuracy as possible while doing so. If you would like to make any other color adjustments because we are in the game mode, feel free to do so. But again, these settings are for accuracy purposes. Now with clarity, sharpness is default to 50, and with reality creation, make sure you're using manual mode. It will default to 20 in terms of the resolution. I am running 50. Feel free to change that to your liking. You do not have to use 50. That's just my preference, okay? It won't alter much in terms of accuracy. Reality creation works very well on the XR processor. Make sure smooth gradation is set to low. And then finally, under motion, unless you're going to turn on motion blur, there's nothing that you can turn on because we are in the game mode. You should be up and running at this point in time with your HDR game settings. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. And as I always say, until we stream again.